Hi, I'm Charlotte and this is Tired Mama Tries to Read. I think I should probably rename this vlog Exhausted Mama Fails to Read. It has not been a successful reading week, unfortunately. Little person got a stomach bug, which is my worst nightmare. I'm sure it's every parent's worst nightmare, but when you have a phobia of being sick, it is pretty horrendous. So yeah, we were dealing with that all through Friday night, and it just wiped out the whole weekend. And pretty much I'm still trying to accept that as of yet, touch wood, nothing has happened to the adults. and you know, I'd like to all of you to cross your fingers for me that nothing does. If this is the end of it, I feel like we have got off lightly, because bless him, he did do really well. But yeah, it's just made reading impossible. So shamefully, I haven't really finished anything. I'm really behind on Jane Eyre. I should really have finished by now. And I just want to say, in my last video, I kind of made the assumption that everybody would know the plot of Jane Eyre, and I actually feel really bad about that now. I don't want you to think it was some kind of book snobbery that, oh, you know, everyone's read Jane Eyre. It was mostly because of the fact that there's so many films and adaptations. I just kind of thought that everyone knew certain major plot points, but it turns out that is not the case. And like, my husband didn't know anything about the plot because I made him watch my favourite one with the BBC sort of 4-part series with Toby Stephens. I made him watch that last week with me, in line with the whole Victober, read the book, watch the film. And he had no idea what was going on. Not in the sense that he didn't know what was happening, but he was going, oh, what's going to happen with this? And is she going to do that? You know, I just couldn't believe he didn't know what was you know, those major points that I kind of took for granted everybody knew. So I apologise for that if I ruined it for anyone. I will try not to give any spoilers away on this now, but I am up to chapter 33. My buddy reader Katie has finished, and in her defence, she did slow her reading right down, so you know, I just haven't been able to keep up at all. I'm really enjoying it, and the bit that I said I was really worried about reading, which is, I've kind of given it away in my last video now, but it's a bit where she sort of changes her lifestyle, so to speak. I'll try not to give anything else away now. Where she changes and she moves away. I was dreading that bit because I'm always bored by it in the TV adaptations. If you can hear a grumble, that's because I brought Eddie in just to stop him barking outside, and he's balanced on a cushion. There he is down there. Because Eddie's too posh to put his little toes or his little bum anywhere but on a cushion, so I had to just chuck that down there for him. So yeah, he's sighing and grumbling. Yeah, I was scared about this bit that was coming up because I haven't enjoyed it in the adaptations, but actually in the book, which I haven't read myself for over a decade, I really am enjoying it. I'm enjoying the introspection. I'm enjoying the way that Bronte deals with heartbreak and feelings of loneliness. She does it really well. She's very insightful. I mean, so many of the things that she talks about you can apply to everyday life. So once you've got over the stumbling block of the language, which is the first problem with any classic, so to speak, is that they're often in that archaic language, which, you know, depending on how much you've read of them, is difficult. But once you've got over that, it is a modern tale, really. So I am enjoying it, and I really want to finish it because I feel like I've left it, because I've been reading it over the month, whereas normally I try and read a book as quickly as possible, really, but I deliberately spread that through the month. I feel like I've been reading it forever, so I don't think this whole multiple reading thing is for me. I have done okay with The Time Machine by H.G. Wells, and if I had had any kind of normal weekend, I would have finished it, but I haven't. It's a really quick read. It's very entertaining. I came to this knowing nothing, so this is the sort of thing where someone could totally have spoiled this for me, because I know that loads of people know the story of it and they've seen various film versions, but I'd seen nothing. So the summary of the plot, without spoiling it, is that a scientist travels, you know, obviously he's built a time machine, and the premise is that he travels to the future to an earth that he doesn't recognise. There are people living above ground and people living, well, there are things living above ground and there are things living below ground. And he has all these theories about whether they're humans or whether they're something else. He's got all these theories that he shares with you, but then he says, but then I was wrong, you know, and you're still waiting to hear what these things are. And it's quite creepy. It's quite a dark read. I was really surprised by the amount of commentary he was making on social situations. So there's a huge bit where he talks about workers who work for rich, you know, for the bourgeois, for the rich, for the upper classes, and how it makes the upper classes, well, it sort of de-skills them, and so they become, in his eyes, almost pointless. And the workers, it sort of pushes them into the darkness and turns them into machines. So there is, yeah, I didn't know that he was going to do any of that. It's at a point like that I would really have loved to have been able to turn to some notes. I know I go on about it, but I would love to have been able to sort of turn back and read about how H.G. Wells was a socialist. I don't know, was he? I have no idea. The stuff he was talking about was kind of socialist, but then later on he has some other things to say, which I'm like, ooh, I'm not sure if that fits. So I would have appreciated notes for stuff like that. That's for me where notes come in really useful, to sort of find out the perspective of the writer and some of the conditions of the time, because I'm terrible with history, so I haven't got a sort of little calendar in my head of, oh, the year was this, that means, you know, the Chartists were rising up, you know, I just don't know stuff like that. So yeah, notes would have been good, but all I need really is a good hour and a bit, and I'll be able to finish that. The only other thing I've read this week was a book that arrived a couple of days ago, and this is not Victober. I think this is as far away from Victober as a person could possibly get. But this is Busy Phillips. This Will Only Hurt a Little. And this is where I've shown that I can obviously find time to read, even amongst all these things going on, when I really want to, because I'm almost halfway, and it only arrived a couple of days ago. I mean, it's a much easier read, let's be honest. I love Busy Phillips. I follow her on Instagram, which I think is where everybody knows her from, if they didn't already know her as an actress. And I know it sort of might seem like a frivolous celebrity read, but actually it's awesome. It's she has discussed so many things. She's discussed abortion. She's discussed rape, sexual abuse. She's discussed difficult childhood. She hasn't suggested in any way that she had a particularly difficult life. In fact, quite the opposite. She's saying that everything that happened around her she thought was normal, and actually is normal for lots of people, but she's saying that on reflection a lot of it was wrong. And she talks very frankly about how she thinks this influenced her. She talks about like I can hear Idris outside laughing. I don't know if you can, but he's obviously playing with something. He's not alone, by the way. He's obviously got his daddy with him. Yeah, she talks about loads of quite serious issues, but she does it with a very light touch. I love books like this. I love readable books. I don't think there's any shame in having a readable book, but I do like them to actually talk about something worthwhile, and this is definitely one of them. So I love it, and it's lightened my mood. I was super happy when it came in the post. I ordered this in the same order I ordered Michelle Obama's biography, which is coming out in November. So I felt like I'd really sort of done both ends of the biography spectrum with those orders. So that's it really. That is my reading week to date, and I'm hoping that the last week of Victober goes a little bit better for me. I'll be happy if I finish The Time Machine, if I finish Jane Eyre, and I think that's going to be it. I don't know if I'm going to fit in Stevie Davis, but I really want to read Stevie Davis's book, so I will try next month. I hope all your Victobers are going really well, and yeah, let me know if there's any any books that arrive through your letterbox that you think that, you know, don't sort of meet those literary standards that you think you're meant to set for yourself, because they're sometimes the best books, right? And yeah, I'd be interested to hear what your guilty pleasures are. So yes, I will go now. I might do a book haul video. I'm just looking around to see if I think they're still playing. I might have time. Okay. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.